Due to many similarities between Earth and Titan, that sometimes leads to the conclusion that there is some possibility of life existing on the surface of Titan. Both objects have an atmosphere mostly composed of nitrogen, and both have lakes and rivers along with rains. However, one massive difference is the fact that the surface of Titan is a lot colder compared to Earth. The average temperature of Earth is about 15 degrees Celsius, while for Titan, the average surface temperature is about minus 180 degrees Celsius. Due to such frigid temperatures, that allows for methane and ethane to be in a liquid form on Titan, while on Earth, methane and ethane are in a gas form. Massive methane lakes and rivers were detected by NASA's Cassini spacecraft at the North Pole of Titan, along with some smaller lakes at the South Pole. Now the question is, despite the extreme cold and a lack of liquid water, is there some unique form of life in the lakes of Titan? The reason as to why lakes would be the place that first comes to mind as harboring life is due to life on Earth requiring liquid water and being present there. Water is especially good for life due to being a universal solvent. It is able to dissolve many things. This allows for crucial nutrients to be absorbed by an organism because the crucial nutrients can reach important parts of the organism. So, is liquid methane able to take the place of water? Is it a good solvent? Being able to dissolve many things is crucial for life forms of likely any kind. For organisms on Earth, it should be obvious, liquid methane could not be used as a solvent. It's incompatible. It's not even a liquid on Earth. But for organisms that developed in an alien environment, such as Titan, maybe. Although it's not very promising. Liquid methane is a solvent to a degree. It is a hydrocarbon. It's composed of one atom of carbon and 4 hydrogen atoms. Water, on the other hand, is 2 hydrogen atoms with 1 oxygen atom. So the properties of liquid methane overall are very different compared to water. Liquid methane does appear to be capable of dissolving some things, although it is quite a bit worse than water. Because of that, it is also a much worse candidate for being the basis of a life form. Although liquid methane is somewhat bad at being a solvent, Titan also has liquid ethane, which might give life a better chance considering that it is about a 20 times better solvent for small organic molecules. Organic molecules are molecules which have carbon in them. Lake Ontario, largest lake at the South Pole of Titan, has a lot more liquid ethane compared to the large lakes at the North Pole. Because of that, it also might be a better place to look for life. Although it should be mentioned that it appears that both methane and ethane are still overall worse solvents compared to water, which is a big obstacle for the existence of life. So the most significant difference between life on Earth and potential life on Titan would be the fact that all life on Earth is water-based, while all life on the surface of Titan would be liquid methane or ethane-based. However, one potential similarity would be that both are carbon-based. For life on Titan, the solvent life would use would itself be carbon-based, as both methane and ethane have carbon. Besides methane and ethane, nearly every other important molecule for functioning would also probably be carbon-based. Crucial molecules for life are nearly all carbon-based, and that is for a very good reason. Carbon is an exceptional atom in terms of being the basis of extremely complex molecules. It has the ability to form bonds that are optimally stable with 4 other atoms. That leads to the formation of complex structures such as proteins, DNA, enzymes, vitamins, and so on. Just to give an example of how insanely complex and large these carbon-based molecules can get, Titin is a protein in the human body responsible for the elasticity of the muscle. This protein contains nearly 170,000 atoms of carbon, along with a bunch of hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Organic molecules are abundant on the surface of Titan. In the upper atmosphere, a variety of carbon-based molecules were detected. The likely reason behind why that is the case is due to methane and nitrogen, along with other things, being exposed to sunlight, which creates chemical reactions, and that further creates a variety of organic compounds. Organic compounds are not only present in the upper atmosphere of Titan, but also on the surface. In fact, it appears that the vast majority of the surface of Titan is coated to a varying degree in organic compounds. A small reason behind why those molecules are there is due to the organic compounds falling from the sky, that is, upper atmosphere, after they formed through the interaction with sunlight. Overall, the abundance of many carbon-based molecules on Titan is positive news for the existence of life in this alien environment, as a variety of organic compounds is crucial for life. However, there is a big problem. Although rich in organic molecules, it appears that the surface of Titan lacks other elements. Life on Earth doesn't just use carbon and a few other elements. It uses many more elements, such as phosphorus, iodine, sulfur, calcium, copper, zinc, magnesium, and many more. The variety of elements also allows for complex biological systems to form, and a limitation of these elements also limits the ability for life to form and grow. On Earth, the degree of nutrients, elements in an environment also determines the degree of how much life is present. Sadly, liquid methane and ethane, to an extent, do not appear to be nearly as good at dissolving a variety of elements and molecules as water. So the liquid methane and ethane on Titan is likely going to be very nutrient poor. However, the nutrients still are likely present in the liquids and on the surface of Titan, just in very small quantities, at least very small compared to Earth. What is currently known to exist in great quantities on the surface of Titan are carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen atoms. Oxygen is also there, but in the form of rigid, frozen water. Other elements were not detected to be abundant. They still are likely present, as mentioned, but in very small quantities. One reason that we can expect for a variety of elements to be present, at least in small quantities, on the surface of Titan is due to the fact that meteorites that hit the surface of Titan will inevitably sometimes carry a variety of elements. The variety of elements brought from meteorites could then be used by life forms that are very efficient with how they use them. They would need to be able to be good at recycling them. Similar in a way that life on Earth has to be very efficient with the usage of some elements which are not very abundant and yet crucial. Titan also has an active liquid cycle, so the little amount of nutrients that are present on Titan are probably going to get scattered throughout the surface, as rains occur in a lot of areas of Titan to a varying degree, from the equator all the way to the poles where they are most common. Still, the liquid methane and ethane, being nutrient poor and a lack of abundance of a variety of elements, is a massive obstacle for the existence of life. Despite hypothetically being able to circumvent the problem by being efficient with the usage of elements, it is still, however, negative news, and although it doesn't rule out life completely due to these constraints and some previously mentioned ones, on the surface of Titan we can pretty safely rule out the existence of complex multicellular life similar to animals. While microscopic single-celled organisms might have more of a chance existing there, the chances do not look very good. What about energy? As mentioned, temperatures on Titan are frigid. Despite this, somewhat counterintuitively, this is one area which appears to be not much of a hurdle for life. Organisms on Earth typically get their energy by taking in oxygen and reacting that oxygen with glucose, which produces the carbon dioxide we breathe out. This chemical reaction produces enough energy for a lot of life on Earth. By comparison, life on Titan could take in ethane, which is present in the lakes, and react it with diatomic hydrogen, two hydrogen atoms bound together. Diatomic hydrogen is present in the atmosphere of Titan and also in the liquid methane and ethane. That reaction of ethane with diatomic hydrogen would produce methane as a result, and also likely release just enough energy to power and grow life. That estimate for powering and growing life is based on methanogens. They are single-celled organisms on Earth that also produce methane, sometimes by reacting carbon dioxide with diatomic hydrogen. These organisms need about 40 kilojoules per mole to sustain growth, and reacting ethane with diatomic hydrogen should produce about 57 kilojoules per mole. There are also other ways of powering life on Titan that produce even more energy. Acetylene was found in the atmosphere of Titan in sufficient quantities, and reacting acetylene with 3 diatomic hydrogens produces quite a bit of energy. Surprisingly, photosynthesis might be another way to get energy on Titan. Yes, Titan is very far away from the Sun, nearly 10 times further away from the Sun than Earth. And on the surface of Titan, accounting for the haze in the upper atmosphere, it is estimated that it receives about 0.1% of the sunlight on Earth. The Huygens Lander data from 2005 also supports this number. However, the process of photosynthesis on Earth can use even less light levels to support life than the light levels present on the surface of Titan. Because of that, photosynthesis is possibly another way that life on Titan could be powered. What is crucial for life, at least seemingly, considering that life on Earth needs it, is a boundary between the organism and the environment. Lipid membranes are structurally similar to fats and oils. However, they wouldn't be able to function on Titan. Because of that, there probably needs to be an alternative boundary structure for an organism that could function under the extreme cold of Titan in liquid methane and ethane. And there is a study that constructed a hypothetical cell membrane called the nitrogen body that as a basis has a carbon-based molecule that has nitrogen. That molecule was confirmed to exist on Titan. The hypothetical membrane uses that molecule as a sort of building block. It does appear to function in liquid methane very similarly to cell membranes of organisms on Earth. It has the right flexibility and strength. However, another study that came out at a later date found that although the structure could function on Titan, the hypothetical cell membrane cannot realistically form on the surface of Titan due to the energy requirements for such a structure to form. So that is a pretty big negative, considering that a cell membrane is crucial for life on Earth. However, it might be then the case that life on Titan doesn't need a cell membrane, or at least one that acts similarly to the way cell membranes act of organisms on Earth. Something else might be able to act as a boundary between the environment and the organism, but it is more rigid or more loose. Another possibility is that there might be a cell membrane that has the right cell membrane properties, but is chemically different from the hypothetical nitrogen body. Overall, we just don't know. However, the hypothetical nitrogen body not being able to form on the surface of Titan is another significant negative towards the existence of life in that environment. Another crucial thing for the existence of life on Earth is DNA. It is a molecule that stores information. The types of information that it stores are instructions for the way that the organism is going to develop and function. For organisms on Titan, it is pretty obvious that they would also need to have an information storing molecule. It seems impossible for life to exist without it. And yet it is still not known as to what sort of molecule can take the place of DNA for the surface of Titan. At the moment, there is no single proposal that seems to be fully viable in such extreme weather conditions. This doesn't necessarily mean that an information storing molecule is impossible there, but there is no obvious answer as to what can take that role. One argument that can possibly come up for the existence of life at the surface of Titan is the presence of small organisms on Earth that are able to withstand extreme conditions such as the vacuum of space, high-pressure environments, and very high or low temperatures. Despite the existence of these, there is no known organism from Earth that can truly survive and also thrive under the extreme conditions of the surface of Titan. On top of that, life itself forming under these extreme surface conditions is another different and massive obstacle. So while examining a few things that are necessary for life to exist, for quite a lot of them, the surface environment of Titan doesn't seem to be promising. almost every step necessary for life has big obstacles in such weather conditions. Now, of course, for each of those obstacles, there is some idea that tries to get over those hurdles. But still, the mentioned problems do lower the chances of life existing there. And that gives us an insight that we shouldn't be expecting life to exist on the surface of Titan. At least, we should probably lower our expectations dramatically. Still, ultimately, no matter how many problems are listed, and no matter how many solutions are given to the problems, what really matters are the results. And currently, we don't have a certain answer when it comes to whether or not life exists on the surface of Titan. The reason as to why we don't have a certain answer is because we didn't really go out there with instruments such as powerful microscopes and thoroughly examined the entirety of the surface in order to conclude that there really is or isn't life. What we have currently are only indications that can go either way, but mostly point towards life not existing there. Dragonfly is NASA's rotorcraft that should arrive on Titan by around 2034, if it is not significantly delayed again. So then, will Dragonfly be able to definitively answer the question of whether or not life exists on the surface of Titan? Well, probably not definitively. The first problem with that is the location. Dragonfly is set to arrive at the equator, and it might not ever reach lakes at the South or the North Pole, which are about 4,000 kilometers away from the equator, although it does have a chance. However, considering that even the equator of Titan is wet to a degree with methane and ethane, as confirmed by the Huygens lander, the location might not be that big of a deal for detecting life. However, the biggest problem with Dragonfly giving us a definitive answer is the fact that it probably won't have a microscope, at least not a significantly powerful one. Even on Mars, Curiosity and Perseverance don't have real microscopes, at least not powerful ones. The thing that gives the most detail at small scales is the Mars Hand Lens Imager, which is able to focus from a distance of about 20 millimeters. This is an imager on Curiosity. That is why Curiosity is capable of giving us images such as these, which tell us just how fine-grained some of the soil on Mars really is. It's like a powder. However, this is not enough to detect small things such as most single-celled organisms. The Perseverance rover also has the same problem, as its most microscopically capable camera is similarly limited. The reason as to why both of these rovers don't have powerful microscopes boils down to budget issues, and also simply due to the fact that in order to view a sample through a microscope in a useful way, that requires significant preparation even on Earth, let alone on a rover that is not on this planet. So considering that Perseverance and Curiosity both don't have powerful microscopes, Dragonfly likely won't have one as well. So we probably will not be getting a definitive answer, as the only real chance life has on the surface of Titan are very small organisms, meaning Dragonfly won't be able to detect them directly. Still, just like Curiosity and Perseverance, Dragonfly will have a somewhat microscopic camera. In the proposal paper for Dragonfly, there is a mention that it will have a microscopic imager that can examine surface material down to sand grain scale. Probably not enough for most single-celled organisms, but still pretty good. Possibly the most useful instruments of Dragonfly for the indication of the existence of life would be its two types of spectrometers, which can analyze chemical composition of the surface. If it detects some very unusual things, it could be a sign of life. So, in terms of astrobiological data, Dragonfly should still be pretty useful. There are other, even more indirect ways of searching for life. Just one of them was looking for diatomic hydrogen, which was already mentioned as a part of a process that could potentially serve as a fuel source for life on the surface of Titan. It was found that diatomic hydrogen above 50 degrees north was much less prevalent compared to below that latitude. This could be due to life being more prevalent in the southern hemisphere, which consumes more diatomic hydrogen, and that causes a decrease of diatomic hydrogen in the south compared to the North Pole. And the reason life could be more prevalent in the south could be due to ethane being a much better solvent than methane as already mentioned. Lake Ontario, largest lake at the south pole of Titan, has a lot more liquid ethane compared to the large lakes at the North Pole. However, life is not the only explanation behind the diatomic hydrogen prevalence difference. There are less exciting and more likely explanations than something like life. Overall, although life existing on the surface of Titan in the lakes seems to be less than likely, there aren't many ways to confirm that with certainty besides thoroughly examining large parts of the surface with a powerful microscope. That, however, is something that we are at the moment very far away from doing, but it seems like a good goal to achieve.